This is going to be a gameplay video for Camp Grizzly. I'm playing the normal version of the game compared to the easy version of the game. And for this time around, I'm going to be using Karen, Tracy, Kevin, and finally Jason. Now, something about the cards that you're going to see is you can see starting health here, and then every time they get injured it starts moving down until finally where they die. And you also see how it starts with their movement being high, and then it starts getting lower, and then right before they die they get panicked and kind of get better at their movement as they're trying to escape. Also, whenever they have an attack against Otis and ended up losing, they have a panic movement that they're going to do, along with their special ability that they get all the time, which for Jason is he can't ever be horrified. And every time that he would be horrified, he's going to get a survival card instead. So as I start out, I have these little markers that almost start here and start keeping track for everybody. Otis also gets these markers, as you can see. He has his stalking, which is basically his movement. The middle column is the attack, and then the column over here is his damage. The body count keeps track of how powerful he is as you go through the game. And with the normal, he starts over on space 1, which gives a stock of +1, so his movement is going to start out being 2. Now everybody gets one of the Camp Grizzly survival cards to start. And Tracy, her special ability is that she's inspired, so she gets 2 of them. So I'm going to go around and give everybody their cards real quick before we get started. So she gets improvise. Tracy gets we tried to warn you. Kevin gets bad influence, which is a permanent card. You see how it's a different color. It also makes it to where whenever we tempt fate, whenever we're doing something stupid, I have to draw a certain amount of cabin cards, and if I get a red one, then it makes it to where Otis strikes. And then Jason is also getting permanent ability in Virgin, which makes it to where he gets one less card whenever he's tempting fate. But then I have to discard this card if I've ever involved in a fooling around card. So I'm continuing on. So Karen gets search the cabin. Tracy gets wait for me. And Kevin gets stick together. And Jason gets don't. So finally, Karen gets her final 2 cards, which are going to be Scream for Help and she gets a permanent ability of Desensitize, so she can never be horrified either. So I've got 2 characters with abilities that make it to where they can't be horrified. Basically what horrified does is it makes it to where you get -1 to all of your rolls, and as soon as you become horrified, basically you end your turn and you can't do anything else after that. So now that Otis is ready to go and everybody has their cards, we'll get set. So basically the point of the game is going to be wandering around trying to find items that are going to determine what kind of finale that I might want to go to be able to escape from the camp. So for the van here down at the bottom, you see that on the left I need the keys, in the middle I need the gas, and then on the far right I need the battery. So I'm going through all of the objective cards, which are the cards with the question mark. That's what I'm going to be looking for, seeing if I can find one of those. And like I said, there's 4 different finales for this first edition. And so once I have 3 of the items, if they match up with one of the finales, then that will be the one that decides which one I'm going to play, and then I'll go for it from there. But first off, that's where we are. So we all are starting off at the campfire. The keys are going to be over here. So as you can see, I've got a bunch of locks around that I'm going to need to get the keys for, because I cannot move on any space where I have a locked door. These green right here, the green are camp trails, and to use the camp trails I basically have to use a special action where depending on the number of movement points I have, I roll one of the d6. If I get a 1, I'm lost and I'll come up here into the woods. If I roll a 6, then I've made it and I continue on. And if I've rolled a 2 through 5, then I basically just stay where I am, and then I can try to either go on the trail again later on or move on basically. Otis is not restricted by the camp trails. He can go anywhere. Now one of the big things, as you'll see, is when Otis starts to attack, he'll be able to move into the cabins. Once he gets into a cabin, anyone in the cabin is subject to attack by Otis. Even if he's not on their space, as long as he's in that cabin, he can attack them, and that's what makes him very dangerous, especially as he starts to go up, because you can see it's very tight movement, and once he starts getting more dangerous as the body count goes up, his movement becomes 4, and he's right on top of you, and he's always on top of you. So anyway, we'll get started, see if we can get some keys real quick. So the first one is Karen. I'll have Karen go first. So she'll move 1, 2, 3 is her movement. Pretty much everybody's movement is 3 to start off. So that was my movement phase. And then I'm going to have my cabin draw phase, to where I'm going to be able to get a card. She lucked out. She was able to get the axe. So she's able to get a weapon from the very start. Now she can equip this right now. And also, down on the bottom there, you see how there's 2 hands. So that shows you that that's the only card that she can have equipped as far as weapons are concerned. I can unequip a weapon either at the end of my turn. Actually, that is when I have to unequip a weapon, is at the end of my turn, now that I've equipped it. If I wanted to use a single-handed attack, I could have 2 single-handed weapons in my hands, and I could roll for each of them individually. The axe is a pretty good card, though, so I want her to have it, especially since we will need weapons to help defend ourselves. You also saw the fact that it had that 8 in the corner to be able to show that that's what the attack rate is going to be a D8. So now she's going to end her turn, and Tracy's going to go next. So she'll also move over here. She'll end her turn. And then, oh, she gets chased. So she gets an Otis card. So move Otis to your space. And then I'm going to be rolling a D4. So it's a 2. So on a 1 or a 2, I receive 1 injury and move 1 space away and repeat chase. Ouch. So she's down 2. And then I'm going to move 1 space away. And so he's chasing her down. So we'll roll again. And a 1. So we receive another injury. She'll move 1 space there. We'll do it again. I have to get a 3 or a 4. If not, it's going to be a quick game for Tracy. There's a 4 right there. So in a 3 or 4, I move 2 spaces. And I'm able to outrun Otis. So now I remove Otis from the board. And she gets to draw a survival card. So she will draw Slip Pass, which is played during her move phase. Move 2 more spaces this turn. And then I can also safely move through a cameo or Otis space without ending up crossing their path. Alright, so that's the end of her turn. So now we're going to move on to Kevin. So he'll also move 3 to get on over with Karen. He'll draw his card. He gets an item. He gets Timmy Teddy, which makes it to when Otis strikes his cabin, he can discard Timmy Teddy to cancel the attack, and then everybody gets to move 2 spaces away. And then finally, Jason. Jason's going to go a different way, I think. He'll go over here into the dining hall. Then he'll take his card. He gets Bandage. So he can play this during any phase to heal 2 injuries, and I can use this on myself or another counselor in the same cabin, and then it gets discarded after use. Alright, so now that they have all gone, it is Otis's turn. So Otis, because of the fact that he's off the board, he's considered to be lurking. So he's going to roll the D10. One of the cool things that I also thought about the board is if you ever forget which dice does what, if you look at Otis's card, it will show you. So the top one shows the 4 for the D4, the green for the D6, the yellow for the D8, and the red for the D10. So I thought that was kind of neat. So we'll roll. So a 5, right next to where the dice was. So each of these green spaces is a camp trail. So when Otis is off the board and he's lurking, you roll to see where he comes back on. So he's going to come back because the 5's right here. That's where Otis will come back. And for right now, Otis's stock is only a 2, so he's not really powerful right now. But because of the fact that he can use camp trails, basically what he's going to be doing is he's going to be going after whoever's closest to him. So he's always looking to see who's closest that he can go after. And because of the fact that he can use the camp trails, Tracy, unfortunately, is going to be closest to him. So he's going to be able to move over into her space, and then he's going to strike. So for right now, he would only be rolling a D4 to attack. But unfortunately, Tracy doesn't have any weapons right now to help defend herself. So now everybody else will have to see, because Tracy's only 2 away from dying. Right now it wouldn't be too bad because Otis's damage is only 1, so even with her panicking or losing a fight, she's only going to take 1 point of damage. But it's never good to get in a fight with Otis. Let's see if anybody else can help her out. Oh, maybe. So, Tracy might be able to help herself, because I can play at any time to move to another counselor's space. Wait for me. So basically that is going to make it to where I can hopefully get out of there, move somewhere far, far away. So she's going to move out of there. And then she'll go over here with him so that she doesn't have to fight. And she'll discard that card. And then Otis wasn't able to attack. So we move on to the players again. So once again, it's Karen's turn. And then she's going to move 1, 2, 3. She's going to bypass the unknown token, the objective card, I should say, without looking at it, because basically I'd be able to flip that over on my draw phase. So instead of drawing one of the Camp Grizzly cards, my cabin card, I would draw, I would flip that card over. So she's going to bypass it because she's trying to get to the keys. So she ends her turn. She's going to get a card, and it is the Claw. So this is a rumor card. So on this one, Otis doesn't actually attack. But what is going to happen is his damage stat increases by 1. So now his damage is 2 instead of 1. We also get another objective card, which is going to go into the tool shed. Now it's Tracy's turn, and we need to find some medical supplies, so hopefully we can get the hut this game to be able to help her heal. So she's going to move. Her movement's only 1 right now because she's been injured, so she'll move right there. So draw her card, which is the 8-track player. So I can play this in any phase to place the mini 8-track player card on my space, and then Otis will stock it like a counter and attack it if an Otis Strikes card is drawn, and then I discard it. So she gets one of the little mini cards. That'll end her turn, since she can't equip or unequip anything. She can't pick up anything. She can't trade anything. So now it'll be Kevin's turn. So I think for Kevin, I'm going to only spend 2 movement to move him here and then have him stop. And then instead of drawing one of the cards, he's going to flip this, and then he'll equip it. So this is one of the objective items, so it's the crank. So the boat takes the crank and the range tower takes the crank. So he'll have that. That's going to end his turn. Now it'll be Jason. So Jason's going to move 2 turns here to end on here. And instead of drawing a card, he's going to flip this. Oh, but it wasn't a good card. It's +1 to the body count. So the body count's going to move up. That'll end his turn. So now Otis will move. So now Otis is going to stock, and I think right now for sure the closest one will be Kevin, and Otis is moving 2 spaces right now. So he'll move there, but now that he's entered this cabin, Kevin's not safe, and so he's going to be able to attack. And like I said before, his damage is now at a 2 instead of a 1. He could play Timmy Teddy to make it to where Otis isn't going to attack him. But I think for right now, I'll go ahead and take the attack. We'll see if that's good or bad. To -2 for my damage. And then he has a panic move of 2. Which I think he's going to move into here. And even though I landed on those keys, I can't take them because of the fact that I'm in a panic state. But the reason why I'm moving in there is because he doesn't have any weapons. He doesn't have anything to help defend him. But Karen does. Matter of fact, she's got one that can she can roll a D8. And so with Otis's movement next turn, he's going to be close to moving in there. He wouldn't quite make it, but it's going to be better than. He's definitely going to be making that cabin next turn. So like I said, at least he's got some sort of protections right now for when Otis moves in there, unless something else happens to move Otis somewhere else. So his turn is done. So now it is Jason's turn. So Jason, I think, is going to move back into here. And then he'll end his turn right there. And then he is going to use bandage, which will heal 2 injuries on Tracy. That'll move her back up to 3. Trying to figure out whether or not Tracy should play her 8-track player at some point soon. And it won't matter right now anyway. Okay, so he finished his movement. That was part of the movement phase. Now he still has his cabin draw phase, even though he played that card. So he has a plot twist, which is going to have to be resolved immediately, which is don't look up. Ooh, which all counselors in this cabin are horrified. And we get, as you can see down on the bottom, +1 to our body count. So Otis's attack just moved up, so he just went from a D4 to now rolling a D6 for combat. Now Jason can't be horrified, so he doesn't have to worry about the fact that he's horrified. Tracy can, though. So when you're horrified, you're getting -1 to all your rolls, and then this is going to be discarded at the end of Tracy's next turn. So now it's Otis's turn. Otis has his stock of 2. There's nothing in the rules that talks about whether or not you can move diagonally or not. So because of that, I haven't been moving diagonally, which is why he's stuck in that cabin, wasn't able to get over into this cabin. So he wasn't able to do anything at this turn. And so now it will be Karen's turn. So Karen needs to get the keys. So as part of her move action, she can pick up items or weapons that are already revealed in this space, and I don't think that counts against your movement. It doesn't say that it counts against your movement, it just says that as you're moving you can do that. So that's what I'm going to do. She's going to move here for 1, pick up the keys, move back for 2. And we're going to have to do it again. Anyway, so I think for her final 3, she's going to be brave and move into the space with Otis. Now she rolls her D8 for attack. So she rolled a 4. Now Otis is rolling a D6. Oh, and he rolled a 6, so he won. So because he won, she's going to become panicked. So when she becomes panicked, she's going to take the 2 damage. And then her panic movement is 2. So she's going to end up running away. So Kevin is going to be on his own. Also, because of the fact that she was panicked, I don't get to draw the cabin card or do anything else, because once I became panicked, that was basically it. Alright, so now it'll be Tracy's turn. And Tracy, she's going to start heading towards the tool shed. So she has her 3 movement again. 1, 2, 3. Now it's Kevin's turn. Kevin is not going to move. He's going to hope something happens to draw Otis away from him. So he's skipping his movement, but he does get his card, and he gets a flare. Which also cancels the Otis strikes movement or attack. And it'll move Otis back 3 spaces as well.